So you're ready, so you're mentally prepared and you're excited to go to the gym. You have all the motivation, you watch all these reels and YouTube shorts, and now you're really motivated. You believe that you can get a really good body, muscular body, aesthetic body. Now what's next? I'm assuming you to be a newbie. You've never been to the gym, or maybe you went to the gym for a few weeks and then you stopped. So you're probably a newbie. And you might have heard this thing called newbie gains. And yes, newbie gains, it is a thing. You can grow muscles very quickly at a faster rate if you're a newbie. So obviously you won't be able to sustain this growth for a longer duration, but mostly this will last for a first few months, like maybe 3 or 4 months. So if you actually know what you're doing and if you're working out properly, you can really maximize the growth during this beginning or this period of time. And in order to do that, the first and the most important thing that you have to do is to learn the exercises. Now, when I say learn the exercise, what I mean is perfecting the form and the technique involved in each different exercise. Right, so I just told you that you should first focus on the form and the technique of every exercise. Now, what do I actually mean by that? So, let's say you go to the gym and you want to train your chest. You know that bench press is one of the most effective ways to train your chest, but you don't know how to do it. So you take your phone and search bench press tutorial for beginners, and you'll probably find some good YouTuber with a lot of subscribers and views, and you play that video. In that video, he will tell you a lot of things, and specifically he will give you some cues and instructions that you must follow. And in that YouTube video, that person is telling you to squeeze your shoulder blades, keep your elbows tucked in, and squeeze your chest instead of just pushing the weight just like that. So those are some of the cues that you should have in your mind, or you should know when it comes to bench pressing. And for example, let's say shoulder press, you again have to squeeze your shoulders inwards. You have to brace in, keep your core tight, and then push the weight. So for doing this, I would suggest you guys to take a small weight and then learn all these exercises and try to implement that in the gym. And the best way to do this is by asking your trainer. So he'll probably know how to do all these exercises, so he will explain it to you. And also ask him to stay there for a while and ask him to see if you're doing it right. Or you can ask anyone else in the gym who's experienced to just stand there and support you. Or you can just record yourself on your phone and then review it. So for the first 1 or 2 months, this is what you're gonna do. You're gonna learn every exercise, and then you're gonna go to the gym, take lighter weights, and then you're gonna perfect your form and technique. You're gonna learn the exercise, you're gonna feel the muscle. So this is what you're gonna do in your first 1 or 2 months. So the major mistake the newbies or the people who are new to the gym make is they try to move any amount of weight from a point A to point B, which is completely wrong. It destroys the whole purpose of working out. It's not about how fast or how much weight you can move from point A to point B. It's more like the way that you're moving it, the path of motion, and how your muscle group that you're targeting is responding to the movement. So when you're a beginner, every exercise that you do should be controlled. So focus on controlling the motion or movement with the weights. So what I want you to do is to focus on controlling the movement and the weight, and try to develop that mind and muscle connection. So this is the most important thing. So for example, when you're bench pressing, or let's say when you're, again, easy example, when you're doing bicep curls, you're moving your bicep. So basically you're moving the weight from, let's say, this is point A to point B. This is point B, right? So you should be feeling your bicep contracting and expanding, right? This is contraction and this is expansion. And it's not only about moving the weight from here to here, but it should be about you feeling that burn in your muscle. So that's what you need to keep in your mind when you're working out. So you should be able to develop that mind and muscle connection when you're doing, bicep curl or any exercise. The point is, your hand should not pick up the weight like this. Instead, your bicep should be doing all the work. Your bicep should be pulling it towards your body. So this is the first thing that I want you to do or focus on when you're starting out. So yes, master the form and technique of each exercises as you're learning it. This is very important. Okay, so now I will explain a few concepts that I wish I knew when I first started going to the gym. So the first thing is when you're doing exercises, when you're working out, when you're lifting weight, um, try to do each exercise slowly. Now I'll tell you why. So if you go to the gym, go to any gym, and most probably you'll find an idiot who is, swinging his arm around. Let's say he's again doing bicep curls because bicep curl is very easy to demonstrate. You might probably see someone who's doing something like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And he can probably do about, I don't know, 12 reps within 20 seconds like that. Now here's the problem though. When he's doing that, yes, he's moving the weight from point A to point B and he's doing it very fast. But do you really think that he's feeling that muscle contracting and expanding? Probably no. So if you go to that person and ask him to do the same exercise with the same weight, but this time ask him to perform each repetition slowly. Ask him to do each repetition for, I don't know, let's say 4 seconds. I don't even think he will be able to complete 12 reps with that weight. So this concept that I was just explaining is called time under tension. So like I said, the name is pretty self-explanatory. Time under tension means for what amount of time is your muscle under tension. The best way to grow muscles is to put them under tension. And when you're doing each exercise slowly, you're putting your muscle into more tension. You're making it work harder. So that's why I'm telling you to do each exercise very slowly. Take about 4 to 5 seconds for each repetition, regardless of whatever exercise you're doing. And then do about 10 to 12 reps. Even 10 reps is good. And try to make the whole set means X number of reps. Try to make the whole set last for like 40 seconds something. And this will really help you grow your muscles faster and will make them very stronger. All right, so we covered time under tension. Now the second concept that I want to tell you guys is training till failure. So basically, pretty explanatory, you train until you fail. So how do we do this? How do we execute this? So yeah, basically you should pick a weight, let's say weight X, that lets you perform anywhere between 8 to 12 reps for one set. Because in order to grow muscle, the sweet spot is about 8 to 12 reps. So let's say you pick 5 kg to do your bicep curls, you should probably fail at your 10th or 11th rep in your first 1 or 2 sets. And then on your final set, you can maybe go up to a 7.5 kg dumbbell and then perform till failure. And this will probably give you about 8 reps probably. So that's training till failure. So basically pick any weight that will restrict you from going above, let's say 10 to 12 reps. And that should be considered as your working weight. So when you train like this, whenever you hit that 8 to 12 rep range, you cannot lift anymore, and that's called as training till failure. And this is one of the best ways that you can grow your muscle, because you're making your muscles work so hard it cannot lift anymore. So this is one of the best things that you can do while training in the gym. So at this point you might be wondering why I'm specifically mentioning this 8 to 10 reps or 8 to 12 reps, because you've been seeing all these muscular guys like C-Bum and all these people on Instagram lifting heavy weights for fewer reps. So there are 2 things when it comes to training at gym. So one is building muscle. 3 things. One is building muscle. The second one is endurance training. And the third one is strength training. So if you want to build more strength, you pick heavy weight and do the exercises for shorter reps. And if you want to improve your endurance just means that you can do one specific thing for a longer duration. You just pick a lighter weight and do like 10, 15, 16, like 16 reps of that exercise. But there's a sweet spot, and that's the best way to build muscle, and that is known as hypertrophy. And for hypertrophy, you should be aiming for anywhere between 8 to 12 reps. So that's why I was mentioning that number specifically, which is for hypertrophy training. And hypertrophy training results in maximum muscle growth. Okay, so the third and the last concept that I want to teach you guys is known as progressive overload. Now I know progressive overload, for some people it's confusing. For me, it was definitely confusing at the beginning. Reason being, most people think you're only progressively overloading if you increase the weight, which is not true at all. So you can progressively overload in multiple ways. One of the way how you can do that is obviously by increasing the weight as you train. The other way you can do this is by again increasing your time under tension. So you're technically progressively overloading when you are doing each exercise very slowly to make it even more challenging. So that's the whole point. So that's the second way that you can progressively overload. And the other way that you can progressively overload is by increasing your rep range. You can maybe try to add 4 more reps on top of what you're already doing, because again, you're challenging your muscle. So there are many ways you can challenge your muscle more to make it grow more. Yeah. So increasing the weight is not the only way that you can progressively overload. And now let's talk about progressively overloading with weights. So the whole concept is you not sticking to a particular weight X throughout your journey. So now what do I mean by this? I can bench press, let's say I can bench press 60 kg, right? So I can do about 8 or 10 reps. So do you think I will grow more muscle if I go to the gym today and do 3 to 4 sets of bench press with that 60 kg where I'm hitting 8 to 10 reps consistently in every set? No, probably no. So this is how you progressively overload. So I go to the gym and in my first set, I train about 8 to 10 reps with 60 kg. And in my next set, I would add 2.5 kg to both sides, making the whole weight to add up to 65 kg. And with this weight, I will probably be able to do anywhere about 5 to 8 reps. And then I would stick on to that weight throughout that day. Meaning in the next 3 sets, I'll be performing bench press with that 65 kg weight for about 5 to 6 or even 7 reps, whatever I can. And from the next day onwards or the next session, I would probably be sticking to this plan until that 65 kg weight becomes too easy for me, or until that 65 kg weight becomes too light for me so that I can go up to like 10 or 11 reps, right? So this is how you progressively overload. And another way is starting with 60, doing for 8 to 10 reps for the first set, then 65 kg, doing that for 6 reps, and then going to maybe even a 70 kg with a spotter for even 4 reps. So all of this is basically progressively overloading with weight. But what I would suggest is to stick with the first method that I just told you, which is just take 60 kg for a warm-up set and then use that 65 kg for 6 or 7 reps and do that consistently for a month until that 65 kg becomes easy for you. That's the best way that you can progressively overload. And again, at this point, you might already know this. When I say 8 to 10 reps and 6 reps respectively for 60 and 65 kg, it means that till failure, right? My 8 to 10 reps is my failure for 60 kg and 6 reps is my failure for 65 kg. So you always have to train till failure.